Hello and welcome to video 3 of 3. This is Anthony Haynes, registered nutritional therapist, talking to you about subclinical hypothyroidism. In the first video we learned about the signs and symptoms of subclinical hypothyroidism. In the second one we learned about the prevalence, how many people have it, and why the blood tests effectively aren't so accurate. They do not simply reflect what's going on in the cellular level, and also the reference ranges are so broad they miss out a whole group of the population who are struggling and suffering that need thyroid hormone support. I've given you 2 tips so far. One is to not engage in cardiovascular exercise of a steady state, i.e. non-stop. That tires the adrenals and reduces your energy packet, and can make your thyroid hormone worse. So it's a sort of a real vicious cycle. Exercising to lose weight, and you actually get more tired, and your thyroid hormone actually reduces its efficacy precisely because of that exercise that you're engaged in. I've also recommended that you eat protein in each meal for its thermogenic effect, because you burn more calories in the day when you eat protein than if you had no protein, or you had less protein, or just had carbohydrates. I'm going to give you some more information now about what to do to support your metabolism of thyroid hormone to really make a difference in your energy and metabolism. And this is about numbers of meals you should have per day, how often you should eat, and why, and what you should eat in them. So absolutely vital for overall nourishment of your thyroid hormone function. So we know to eat protein each meal. We know not to overdo, well, certainly don't do cardiovascular exercise. Do resistance exercise. But now what to eat? How many times a day should we eat? So you need to eat 3 times a day. Do not engage in intermittent fasting. No, do not. Intermittent fasting may help you lose weight. It may help blood fats and cholesterol come down momentarily, but when you engage in intermittent fasting and you have subclinical hypothyroidism, your thyroid hormone diminishes. So although intermittent fasting is all the rage, IF and various different forms of it, 16/8 and various different hours in the day when one's not eating and one's eating, and it can be very important for overall health and aging for sure. But if you are one of the women, let's say 20% plus of 45 to 64 who have subclinical hypothyroidism, no, do not engage in intermittent fasting. Maybe you've tried that already. Maybe you've already learned that it's actually a really tough thing. You lost weight, sure, but you know what? Your metabolism will then reduce as a result. Your thyroid hormone needs the energy to work properly, and if you reduce your overall calories and you have intermittent fasting, and/or you do not have carbohydrates of any kind, it also changes the conversion rate of T4 to T3. Now, I've taught you that T3, free T3 in particular, is the most active thyroid hormone in the body, and we want that to be acting in the cell. If you reduce your carbohydrate intake to nothing, and I'll tell you about the sequence at breakfast, lunch and dinner, that actually changes the metabolism and the conversion of T4 to T3. So here's what to do. So protein at breakfast and fat. So it's avocado and bacon, or avocado and fish, or you get that, or it's eggs and avocado. So it's protein and fat for breakfast, but no carbohydrate. The carbohydrate elicits an insulin response, which then results in a blood sugar fluctuation. That increases inflammation in your body, but also it sets you on the path for wanting to eat more food. So it actually upsets the appetite for the rest of the day. So to start your day off on a positive thermogenic note, you have protein and fat for breakfast. So yes, it's salmon and it's eggs and avocado, for example, for breakfast, not carbohydrate. At lunchtime, and you're eating 3 times a day, 3 times only eat 3 times. At lunchtime, it's protein and veggies and a small portion of carbohydrate. You need some carbohydrate to allow your metabolism to work properly, and also not to have the body go, oh, I haven't got enough carbohydrates, I haven't got enough energy, I know, I'll slow my metabolism down by further reducing thyroid hormone function. So breakfast is protein and fat. Lunch is protein with veggies and a small portion of carbohydrate, the portion size of the palm of your hand. And dinner is, again, protein and veggies, definitely. You may have heard of paleo style. It's a paleo style, but you have carbohydrate. You have a medium portion of carbohydrate. It's almost the opposite of what I was taught when I first studied nutrition 20, 30 years ago. We were taught to have breakfast like a king and to have lunch like a prince and dine like a pauper. This is not the case. You need adequate carbohydrate for your thyroid hormone conversion to work properly. You need enough carbohydrate, otherwise the body senses a lack of that energy, and actually it downgrades metabolism, and so therefore diminishes thyroid hormone function. So we have 3 meals a day only. You do not snack. If you snack, you stimulate more insulin and you put obviously more calories in, but you're actually changing a hormonal situation. You're taking your body into a metabolism where it's using fuel from food and not using fuel from your body. So you want to train your body how to use the body fat within us, and that means eating 3 times. You're also minimizing insulin. Protein for breakfast, protein and fat. For lunch, you've got protein and veggies and a small portion of carbohydrates, and for dinner it's the protein with veggies and a moderate portion of carbohydrates. It may sound counterintuitive, but that's absolutely vital. I've met so many women, I've met thousands of women with subclinical hypothyroidism, and guess what they're doing? They're actually starving themselves of carbohydrate and having a really small evening meal with no carbohydrate, and it's actually perpetuating their hypothyroid state. Oh, such so much effort put into it, and without the gains and benefits, the lack of reward from engaging in those habits. So let me remind you of the 3 crucial things before we end this 3-series video. Thanks for watching. Number 1, subclinical hypothyroidism is super common, super prevalent, especially between 50 and 55-year-old women, and particularly if you're a mother. It's recognized medically to be 17% of those individuals from 45 to 64. In my opinion, based on my clinical experience, it's at least 20% women suffering with this underactive thyroid. Effectively, it's not picked up in blood tests. Blood tests are not accurate. They're a guide only, and TSH, which is the common marker, is absolutely not the only marker to look at. The levels of thyroid hormone in the bloodstream are not those in the cell. In order to support ourselves for our metabolism, you need to eat 3 times a day and have no snacks. You need to have protein at breakfast with no carbs. You need to only have a small portion of carbohydrate at lunch and a moderate portion of carbohydrate with the evening meal. This is the way to eat. This is the way to support your metabolism. Now, there are many, many other factors contributing to thyroid. I have researchers there for 25 years and have seen thousands of women recover their metabolism by addressing those underlying factors. But nonetheless, I've given you absolute key markers, key recommendations. Cardiovascular exercise, don't do it. Protein every day at every meal in order to support the thermogenic effect and support your metabolism. And thirdly, when to eat your carbohydrates. None at breakfast, small portion at lunch, and a moderate portion at dinner to best support your thyroid. Now, I've got so much more to share with you, so much more details. You may not be interested in the educated part, but I've also got practical tips for you about what to do nutritionally to optimize your thyroid hormone metabolism, reclaim your energy, get to wake up in the morning with some zing, be able to engage your brain to make decisions and to be active and really be the person, be the true you effectively, and have the best energy you possibly can. So I've got a whole video series lined up for you. If you're interested, click below. Thanks for listening.